Welcome to episode 100, the Always Ready program, where we explore how mature organizations sustain HITRUST assurance year-round instead of treating certification as a one-time event. The Always Ready mindset transforms compliance from periodic stress into continuous rhythm. It's about being perpetually audit-ready, so any request from an assessor, regulator, or customer can be answered with current, verifiable proof. The approach turns governance into a living process with predictable cadence, continuous evidence care, and measured improvement. When always-ready principles take root, renewal cycles become efficient, staff remain calm under scrutiny, and executives gain confidence that compliance reflects operational truth every single day. It is the final maturity stage of HITRUST governance, assurance as a lifestyle rather than a deadline. The Always Ready philosophy brings tangible benefits across control, culture, and cost. Instead of scrambling during renewal, teams maintain constant readiness through routine evidence updates, recurring reviews, and automated monitoring. This smooths workload spikes, prevents burnout, and improves accuracy. Continuous documentation also strengthens incident response and customer trust. Leaders know the current state, not the state from 12 months ago. Over time, this discipline pays financial dividends: fewer emergency consulting fees, faster renewals, and better negotiation leverage with auditors. Perhaps most importantly, the Always Ready model elevates morale. Teams shift from crisis mode to stewardship, viewing compliance not as a burden but as professional pride. In this environment, readiness becomes identity, a marker of mature, resilient governance. Quarterly objectives give structure to that rhythm, aligning accountability across owners. Each quarter carries defined targets, completing a sample review, updating evidence templates, running access audits, or validating vendor attestations. Assigning each objective to named individuals ensures accountability persists even as roles shift. For example, Quarter 1 might require confirming encryption key rotation logs for the prior year, while Quarter 2 focuses on privacy training refreshers. Rolling these goals into departmental scorecards ties compliance to performance management. Quarterly alignment meetings replace sporadic panic with measured progress. In an always-ready program, every quarter is a mini renewal, proof that readiness is not scheduled once a year but practiced continuously. Evidence library grooming and hygiene keep documentation clean, current, and audit-friendly. Monthly reviews confirm that files carry correct names, timestamps, and access permissions. Outdated or duplicate evidence is archived to avoid confusion. Automating metadata tagging, such as linking evidence to control identifiers, simplifies retrieval later. For example, storing access reviews under consistent naming conventions, Control 09AQ 2025 Access Review.pdf ensures instant traceability. Many organizations schedule a documentation day each quarter where evidence owners verify their folders. This culture of tidiness prevents last-minute scrambles and conveys professionalism to assessors. A well-kept evidence library is more than organization. It is proof of continuous quality in governance execution. Continuous monitoring thresholds and alerts provide the technical backbone of always-ready confidence. Security tools should feed dashboards that track key indicators like patch compliance, log volume, or user access anomalies. When thresholds drift below expected baselines, alerts trigger internal investigation before an assessor ever notices. For example, if privileged account reviews exceed a 90-day window, compliance dashboards flag it automatically. These thresholds align to high-trust control expectations and demonstrate real-time operational awareness. Continuous monitoring transforms static assurance into dynamic oversight. The more instrumentation you embed into the environment, the less manual remediation is needed at renewal, and the more reliable your evidence becomes. Renewal sprints, the 90-day playbook, anchor the program's operational momentum. Each renewal cycle begins roughly 3 months before submission, broken into weekly goals. The first 30 days focus on evidence verification and narrative refresh. The next 30, close any cap items. The final 30, prepare assessor coordination and leadership approval. Treating renewal like a sprint maintains focus while avoiding chaos. Teams hold brief stand-ups, track blockers, and measure percent completion weekly. By the time assessors engage, artifacts are locked and responses rehearsed. The 90-day playbook makes renewals predictable and repeatable. When paired with the year-round rhythm, each sprint feels less like an event and more like a performance of readiness that has been rehearsed all year. Integrating change management reviews into this cycle keeps control synchronized with evolving operations. Every significant change system deployment, vendor shift, or policy update should trigger a compliance review checklist. For instance, when adopting a new SaaS platform, teams verify inheritance evidence, encryption defaults, and access protocols immediately rather than deferring to audit season. Quarterly change review boards include compliance representatives to validate whether new processes impact HITRUST factors. Capturing these changes in real time ensures the certification scope and evidence remain accurate. Change control thus becomes a built-in compliance safeguard, ensuring no operational evolution undermines assurance fidelity. Metrics reviews and leadership cadence transform governance into measurable performance. Monthly dashboards summarize open caps, evidence completion rates, training compliance, and monitoring status. Quarterly reports roll those numbers into trend analysis for executive review. Over time, these metrics define the organization's assurance health just as uptime defines system reliability. For example, tracking percentage of controls with refreshed evidence this quarter quantifies readiness maturity. Executives appreciate concise indicators more than lengthy narratives. Regular cadence keeps leadership engaged and accountable, proving that assurance remains visible at the highest levels of decision-making, not buried in technical silos. Corrective Action Plan, or CAP, governance, and backlog triage ensure continuous closure. Always Ready programs treat CAPs as living workflows, not afterthoughts. Each open item carries an owner, target date, and verification step. Monthly CAP reviews prioritize risk-weighted actions, closing high-impact gaps first. For example, an overdue patch management issue ranks above minor documentation adjustments. Dashboards track CAP aging to prevent stagnation. When the backlog drops quarter over quarter, auditors see proof of maturity and commitment. Effective CAP management demonstrates that improvement is embedded in daily operations, ensuring that lessons never fade between audit cycles but become permanent upgrades. Vendor oversight checkpoints extend readiness into the supply chain. Third-party assurance cannot lag behind internal controls. Scheduling quarterly reviews of inherited controls, contract attestations, and risk ratings keeps vendor relationships fresh. For example, ensuring all business associates renew their attestations before expiry prevents renewal time surprises. Annual on-site or virtual assessments for critical vendors reinforce accountability. The Always Ready calendar should list vendor checkpoints alongside internal ones, emphasizing that external dependencies are governed with equal rigor. Transparency with suppliers about these expectations encourages alignment, reducing audit friction and strengthening ecosystem resilience. Training rhythm and content refresh sustain human readiness. Annual or semi-annual sessions reinforce core HITRUST requirements, privacy obligations, and incident procedures. Quarterly micro-trainings or phishing simulations keep awareness current. For example, after policy updates, teams hold 15-minute refresher sessions rather than waiting for year-end. Updated content maintains engagement and prevents fatigue. Short, focused lessons, repeated regularly, prove more effective than long, infrequent courses. Training schedules tied to compliance milestones, such as before renewal sprints, keep knowledge fresh. Continuous education turns staff from passive participants into active defenders of compliance culture. Tooling maintenance and access audits close the technical assurance loop. Compliance platforms, evidence repositories, and monitoring dashboards require the same care as production systems. Quarterly user access reviews confirm that only authorized staff retain permissions. System updates ensure automation scripts, integrations, and alert thresholds stay functional. For example, verifying that compliance dashboards pull from current log sources avoids silent failures. Treating tooling as infrastructure under configuration management ensures its integrity. In the Always Ready model, automation cannot be set and forget. It must evolve in parallel with the controls it monitors. Proper maintenance ensures reliability, accuracy, and continuity year-round. Budget checkpoints and resource planning reinforce sustainability. Quarterly budget reviews verify that funding covers upcoming renewals, training, and technology updates. Forecasting 2 quarters ahead prevents financial gaps from derailing readiness. For example, identifying early that assessor fees will rise next year allows for timely budget adjustments. Tracking resource allocation by hours and dollars helps leadership understand program economics, turning financial planning into another layer of governance. Linking budget checkpoints to operational milestones like cap closure or vendor assessments keeps fiscal discipline aligned with compliance outcomes. Stable funding proves that always ready isn't aspirational, it's financially engineered for consistency. Year-end closeout and kickoff handoff ensure seamless transitions between cycles. The closeout phase consolidates all evidence, metrics, and cap summaries into a final readiness report shared with leadership. Lessons learned are captured, process changes recorded, and renewal strategies refined. Immediately after closure, teams conduct a kickoff meeting for the next cycle, refreshing the calendar and reassigning owners. This continuity prevents the post-audit lull that often erodes momentum. The closeout to kickoff bridge marks the maturity of an always-ready culture, where every ending automatically seeds the next beginning. Assurance becomes continuous motion, not periodic reset. The Always Ready program embodies the highest expression of governance maturity. It synchronizes people, process, and technology into a self-sustaining rhythm that eliminates panic, enhances trust, and converts compliance into a strategic advantage. Through annual milestones, 90-day renewal sprints, and relentless evidence discipline, organizations prove that readiness is not an event but an operational state. This perpetual cadence of review, refine, and renew keeps certification effortless, customers reassured, and executives confident. In the end, always ready means always trusted, a living system of accountability that defines what true assurance looks like in a world where governance never sleeps.